All right, 3, 2, 1, and we are live. Hi there, this is Vishan Borich, and I'm your host today for our Team Tough Hangout, the Down and Dirty at 1:30 Central Time. And today we're going to be talking about doing exactly what I'm doing right now, which is hosting a Google Hangout. So a lot of you may have thought about hosting a Google Hangout, or maybe you've heard the term Google Hangout, or maybe you've been on a Google Hangout like you are right now, and you wonder, how could you do something just like this? And I'm going to tell you, it's not as difficult as it might seem, but there are quite a few steps that are involved in order to do it. So I'm going to be walking you through today exactly the steps that I use in order to host this Hangout. I've actually put together a presentation for you, so you're not going to see my smiling face. You'll get to see my slides here, but I'll come back towards the end and hopefully answer any questions that you might have. Just a few housekeeping items. If you look below the Hangout, you will see that there's a chat box. It is through chat roll. So if you have any questions during the Hangout today, go ahead and click on chat roll and register. It's free to register. And then you can chat below and ask me some questions. Of course, you can always send me questions via Facebook Messenger. If you're on Facebook, shoot me a question and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as I can and answer those questions. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to flip my screen around and hopefully I won't lose anybody, and we'll show you the presentation on how to host your own Google Hangout for profit. Just a moment here. All right, so right now you should be able to see a slideshow presentation. I'm going to try to make this full screen for you. Let's see if I can remember how to do that. It's been a little while since I've done the full screen view. All right, hopefully that's full size for you and you can see it. If there's any trouble at all with this, just write in the chat window and I will try to check that here momentarily, or shoot me a message via Facebook, which might be even better, so that I can see that over here on my other screen. All right, so today's lesson is how to easily host and profit from an online Google Hangout. We're going to go through that right now. All right, so first of all, what exactly is a Google Hangout? Well, basically, it's a live HD, which stands for high definition, video streaming system. And the cool thing is this is a free system from Google. So we can thank Google for that, for providing such a great service. And then the other nice thing about it is that it records for future playback. So, like this Hangout that you're watching today, it's automatically recorded as I'm doing it so that if anyone misses it, they can watch the recording. So it's a really nice feature. Okay, so then I guess the next question that most of you have is, why would you use it? I mean, what's the benefit to you other than it's cool to be able to do video? Well, here's just a few ways. Number one, it's an easy way to record a video. Like if you don't have a good video recorder, this is a great way to quickly record a video on your own. It's a wonderful way to attract new customers. And I'm going to go into a little more detail on that in a little bit, but there's some great ways that you can use it to attract new customers. And then you can also use it to meet virtually with team members. For those of you that maybe have a team or work colleagues, sometimes it's nice to get together, especially if you live all over the country, which is often what we do. If you're in the virtual age, we have a lot of people that telecommute. So it's a great way to connect with those folks. The other reason that I like it, it's a way for us to teach something to others. Just like I'm teaching you today on how to use this, this is something that you could easily use to teach them some of your knowledge and share that in a way that's recorded. So, I mean, just a little tip here. as these are recorded, you don't have to give them away for free. I mean, if you're teaching something really, really valuable, you can actually hide the video behind a web page where it's a paywall, where they would have to actually click, pay a certain amount before they can view your video. So yeah, I'm really going to give you a lot of ideas as we go through here. But you know, what you do in your life is you are learning things. Every one of us is very unique. We have a lot of gifts, a lot of new things that we learn that other people would love to know how to do. So what if you started creating these Hangouts and then save them, and you could charge, you know, as much as you want depending on the value of the information you're providing, and now you have an instant revenue stream. So great method there to do that. All right, here's a few other reasons you might use it. It's a great way to connect with family and friends too. Not so profitable there, but we all have family and friends we'd like to connect with. Some of them live far away, and I know some of you have used Skype, but I actually like Google Hangouts even more. It seems to be a little more stable, at least for me, Google Hangouts do, than Skype. And it's a tremendous way to grow an online business, because this is a tool that you can use so that people get to know, like, and trust you, which is so valuable in an online world where they don't meet you in person. And you know, this is a way for them to appear to meet you in person and really get to know you and your personality. And then the last one I wrote is something that I'm actually doing, and that's hosting an online TV show. Some of you who know me know that I'm very active in the martial arts. In fact, I have my own martial arts studio, dojo, that I've been teaching at for, oh gosh, going on 5 years now. And I wanted to have a martial arts TV show, and I just launched my first episode on Saturday, this past Saturday. So this has been a tremendous tool for me personally in order to be able to spread that message and have my own internet TV show. And I will give you some resources if you'd like to take a look at that TV show and get some ideas for your own personal TV show. I think you'll be impressed with what we've got put together. All right, so let's press on here. So what exactly do you need in order to host a Google Hangout? Well, the first thing you definitely need is a webcam and a microphone. The good news is that most computers, especially laptop computers, already have that built in. So right now I'm actually hosting this Hangout from my laptop computer, and I've got a camera built in, and I've definitely got a microphone, or you wouldn't be able to hear me. So one of the things I will tell you is some computers don't have a very good microphone. So what you can do, and this is just a tip for you, if you have, I call them earbuds, but if you have a smartphone, most smartphones these days come with earbuds, and they have a microphone built into them. And so you'll see, if you've ever been on Hangouts, a lot of folks actually have, you know, earphones in. The reason for that is because of the microphone. Really, that's what that's for. So you plug that into your mic for your computer, and then you actually speak into that microphone. So it's a really kind of a cheater way to have a good mic. Another way is, of course, if you've got the money, if you can purchase a really high-end microphone that you can attach to your computer, you're going to have much better sound quality for folks. All right, the second thing you'll need is a good internet connection. The reason you need a good one is because it does take a lot of bandwidth when you're shooting video like this, especially live streaming. In fact, you may get a little bit of echo or things like that from my own internet connection on occasion, because I do not have super fast internet. The minimum that I recommend that you have in order to do a good Hangout is 1.5 megabytes per second. And if you're not sure what you have, you can always contact your internet service provider and just ask them. Say, you know, what's the fastest speed that I can get? And, you know, what's the least speed that I should be getting? And they should be able to help, you know, optimize you and your connection so that you have the best you can. Most people, if you live in a big city, can get on average about 10 megabytes per second. So 1.5 is really low. I live out in the country, and that's about the lowest that I get. All right, the third thing you need is a Gmail account. This is a Google email account. If you don't have a Google account, they're free to get, but you must have an account, because you're going to need that, because this is a Google product. You're going to need that in order to log in and utilize their Google Hangout. Okay, and then the fourth thing that you need is a YouTube account. YouTube is also owned by Google, so you know your Hangout will actually end up, the recording will end up posted to your YouTube account. So if you don't have a YouTube account, it won't even let you do a Hangout. But again, YouTube is free to set up an account. You just go to YouTube, set up an account using your Gmail address, and everything will be set up. All right, so pretty simple things that you need. So let's move on here. All right, I wanted to provide you with some examples of Hangouts that I've been a part of. So obviously, if you're watching this one today and you're listening to me, then the one that you're on is called Down and Dirty at 1:30. And this is a weekly Hangout that I host personally for my team and for people that are on my email list. And the purpose of these calls is every Monday at 1:30 Central Time, I like to share different things that I've learned. I also do trainings to help my team members so that they can build a better or bigger online business. And sometimes they're just motivational or inspirational, but the whole purpose is something that's easy. I try to break it down as simply as possible so that anyone, even a beginner, can figure it out. So that's what this call is. The second Hangout that I do is this Marshall Way Network TV show that I started. And you can actually register for that and take a look at it by going to marshallwaynetwork.tv. And it's free to watch. You just need to register. And you can kind of see all of the different things I've added to that TV show. It's really fancy. It's got a trailer. I've got some panelists that are on that are martial artists as well. We even have an outro, which is another type of trailer that goes at the end of the video. So it looks pretty cool and has a really nice chat room. So if you want to see how fancy you can get with a Google Hangout, I recommend you take a look at that one. And then finally, I was on one this morning called the mumfreedompreneurs.com, and it's a bunch of us that are mothers that get together and share different things, both inspirational and business-wise, for our own internet business. And that one is kind of neat because there's a series of panelists. And this is another huge benefit of a Google Hangout, is that you can have more than one person on the video stream at the same time. And you can see them, you can hear them, you guys can take turns. So it really adds value to your video because you can do that. And Mom Freedompreneurs is a really nice one to take a look at because there are so many of us that are on that one. So hopefully that gives you some good examples when you're preparing to do your own Hangout or TV show. All right, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the down and dirty part of hosting your own Google Hangout. So I'm going to show you my method. There's a lot of different ways to actually get it set up, but at least for me, this is the most simple way that I could figure out how to do it quickly. And literally, I've hosted these Hangouts as soon as 5 minutes before the Hangout's about to start. So I feel like I've got a really simple method. So here's what I do. The first thing you need to do is go to youtube.com. So go to YouTube, make sure that you're logged in. And I don't know if you can see on my screen here, I have my little pictures in the upper right corner. And if you're having a hard time seeing this Hangout today, you can expand the screen. You can go full size. If you look in the lower right corner of the video itself, there's a little button there or icon where you can expand it full size, so you'll be able to see this a little more clearly. But what you want to do is make sure you're logged into your Gmail account and that your picture or icon or whatever it is that you use, logo, is showing up in the upper right-hand corner. And in YouTube, when you get into there, all you've got to do is click this upload button right here. Once you click upload, the next thing that's going to happen, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. On this page, this is normally where you would upload just a regular YouTube video. But if you look on the right-hand side, you'll see the third one down is Google Plus Hangouts on Air. So you want to click Broadcast. Once you click Broadcast, it may take just a little bit because it's got to load everything. But once you click Broadcast, it's going to pull up a screen that looks like this. It's going to actually be your Google Plus account that comes up, and then it's going to say Hangout on Air. What you'll need to do is give it a name and a description. So I'm going to show you what I typically do. So just for this example, I just gave the name of Test Google Hangout. If you want your Hangout to be public so that the rest of the world can easily find it, I recommend giving it a clear name that's searchable, something that is descriptive as to what your Hangout's about. And then this is a big tip, because my whole goal with Google Hangouts is I want to capture people's emails. So if you're watching this call right now, you know that the only way you could get to this is if you registered with me, right? You had to register at teamtough.com/register-down-dirty. And when you registered, I got your email address. Well, that's one of the ways that you can use this in order to make money, because now as people are registering for your free Hangout, then you have their email address and you can start marketing to them different things that you offer in your business. So don't worry, I'm not going to market you to death, but I do appreciate you giving me your email address so that I can stay in contact with you. So what I do with all of my Hangouts is in the first line of my description, I always put a link to the registration page for that Hangout. And this is the same, especially for my new TV show for Marshall Way Network. I want everyone to register to watch that TV show, because now I have a list. And that, my dears, if you're listening to this, that is what it takes in order to build a business. You've got to grow an email list. All right, so now here's the cool thing. With the Hangout, you don't have to start it immediately. You can actually, oops, I went ahead of myself here. You can actually schedule it for a time in the future. Now, I believe they only will allow you to make it up to 8 hours in the future. So just keep that in mind if you want to do it later. And then here's the other cool thing. You can limit the audience who can see your Hangout. For most of mine, I do make them public. And then later on, I'll go back after the Hangout's over and I'll change it to unlisted so that only those people that are on my list can access it. But this right here, when you click into this box, it'll allow you to choose, public or private or friends or no friends or just you. There's a lot of different choices, and you choose whichever one makes sense for your particular Hangout. All right, so once you fill this out, next step is to click Share. And keep in mind, if I'm going a little fast for you, this is recorded. So if you are in the process of setting up your own Hangout, you can come back to this. And I recommend when the Hangout's done, and I will be sending out a replay link via email, save that. And then once you go to the replay, you can actually save the YouTube video. So make sure you do that so that you have access to that so you can walk through it when you set up your own. All right, so let's talk about the next step. Once you've saved it, you're going to see on your Google Plus page a box that looks like this. Now, you can click Start, and once you click Start, it doesn't make it go live right away. So I don't want you to freak out the first time you see this and you're like, oh, I'm not ready yet to show my face to the public. It does give you a little bit of time, and also there's another button you have to click before it goes live. Here's something cool you can do as well. You see this little button that says trailer, and I use this specifically for my TV show. You can upload an intro video, and it can be anything. For me, I actually had a fancy little trailer made for the Marshall Way Network. But what it'll do is when you embed, and we're going to talk about that, when you embed your Google Hangout onto your web page, if you're not live yet, it will show your trailer, which is kind of a preview of what's to come. So that's a really neat feature that Google Hangouts has. All right, so once you're ready to get going, not live yet, but just get started, you're going to click the Start button. All right, once you click Start, it's going to take you to a box that looks like this. And in this box, I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't ever go through here and invite guests. The way that I use the Hangout is I actually send out emails and I use social media in order to invite people to sign up, because once again, I want to collect their email addresses. Once I have their email addresses, then I send out a link to all of those folks via email that says, click here to watch my Google Hangout. And that link takes them to my own personal web page where I host the Google Hangout. And I am going to show you today where that is. I'm going to show you how to set that up and everything. So you'll be ready to go at the end of this presentation on how to launch your own Hangout. So what do I do on this screen? I click skip. I don't even worry about it. Now, obviously, if you're doing something that is not appropriate for kids, then you want to check this as well. But hopefully, you're not doing that. And if that's the case, then just leave that unchecked. All right, so let's go to the next one. All right, so now you see my happy face again here, but on the next screen, after you've skipped that, it's going to actually load your Hangout. Now, you're still not live at this point. You see this little box in the upper right-hand corner? Right now it says off air. As long as that says off air, nobody can see you. The only people that can see you would be any panelists that you have that are here waiting for you to go live. Okay, so until that says on air, and it'll be green when it's on air. I think it's green, it might be red. It won't be gray for sure. Once it says on air, then everybody can see this, that's got access to your Google Hangout. All right, so this is what it looks like. The next screen I'm going to show you is what you can do. So one of the things that I like to do on my Google Hangout before I go live is I like to add what's called a lower third. And a lower third is basically your little banner that tells people who you are. Like right now on this Hangout, you should see my name at the bottom. Now, it might have disappeared since I'm showing my screen right now, but when you see my face, you should see my name and a little logo, and I think it has my Facebook address as well. So I'm going to show you how to set that up too, because it really makes your Hangout that much more professional, and it's a great way to market yourself as well. So what you're going to do is you'll see on the left rail, there's a bunch of different little tools. The one that you want is the one that looks like a little red toolbox. If for some reason, and I know the first time I opened Google Hangouts, this toolbox was not showing. If that's the case, then click on these three dots down here. That's for more. And then do a search for Google Toolbox. Okay, I think it's called Hangout Toolbox actually. And once you click on the Hangout Toolbox, this right rail is going to show up. The area that you want to modify is the one with the little shadow face. I know they have these great icons. So you'll click on that and it says lower third. All right, so you're going to type in your name and you can have a tagline. You can even choose a specific logo if you wanted to, and some other information. I think I already have one filled out. Let me flip to the next slide. Yeah, I did. Okay, so on this next slide, you'll see I entered my name. I plugged in my Facebook address. I chose a color for the rail, the banner that's right here. And I already had a logo through Google Plus of my face, so I left it like that. But if you wanted to use like your own business logo or a flag or something like that, you can click choose logo and you can actually upload an image right here. All right, so when you first load it or type in this information, this little button up here where it says lower third, it's going to be off. You're going to want to make sure you flip that switch to on. And when you turn it on, it's going to shock you at first because this is going to be in mirror image. So it's going to be flipped around like you're looking at it in a mirror. In order to see it the way that the rest of the world sees it, you're going to click on this little icon that looks like a piece of paper and an arrow. And when you click on that, it flips it around so that you see it the way the rest of the world will see it. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out. But this just makes you look a lot more professional when you have that banner there so that they know who you are and how they can reach you. All right, so let's go on to the next step here. All right, so up until this point, there is nobody else invited. I don't have any panelists that are in this particular Google Hangout example, and it's not embedded on my web page. So we want to get it, you want to have people that are invited. If you have a series of panelists or team members that you'd like to meet with, here's how you're going to do that. If you want people to be a team member or a panelist, you need to copy this link right here where it says event page. Now, how did I get this box to show up? I actually clicked on down at the bottom right corner, there's a little thing that says links. And when you click on links, it's going to pull that up and you're going to copy what I have here highlighted in blue, that link. And the way that I usually send it to folks is I actually copy it and I send it via Facebook Messenger. Just a real easy way to get it to them so that they can click on it and become a panelist and show up in your Google Hangout. All right, so that's the first thing. Now, if you don't have any panelists, like for this particular call, it's just me, you don't need to send that out to anybody, okay? You definitely don't want to send that link out to people that are just watching your Hangout, because if you send that to them, they're actually going to show up as a panelist, and I don't think that you want that. All right, so then the next step is to embed your Hangout onto your web page. So we're going to go to that next. Let me go back one. Okay, so in order to embed your video, if you can see down here in the bottom of that same link box, it says video embed. It actually has the embed code right here. So you're going to actually copy that code and place it onto your web page. Now, for some of you, that may be, wow, you may not know how to do that because maybe you're not a web designer, maybe you don't know anything about coding. So I'm going to give you a couple tips on how to do that. So the first thing you can do is, if you already have a web designer or somebody that manages your website for you, you can always send them this link and ask them to paste it on a page for you. Now, here's the cool thing. Until you actually go live with your broadcast, that nobody's going to see your face, all right? So you can embed this link ahead of time. In fact, oftentimes I'll start my Hangout, several hours before I'm actually anticipating going live, and I'll copy this embed link, paste it on the page, on my web page, and publish. So basically, it'll just show my logo. Nobody will see my face until I go live. And at the moment that I click Start Broadcast, then my Hangout goes live. So you do have time. So you're going to copy that link. I'm going to show you on the next page. This is what the full link looks like. Now, I'm going to give you a huge hint here. The link by default is a really small size. In fact, if I go back, it's 420 by 315, which is a really tiny little video box. I don't particularly like that small of a box. So when I embed my videos, I always change the width and height to, and if you want to write this down, the width should be 853 and the height should be 480. Okay, and those are in pixels. And that's going to keep it proportionate too if you use those same two numbers that I just mentioned. So what I'm showing you here not only is the code, but I actually have a white label web editor that I use. I actually have done web design. I've designed all my websites myself. I have a background in that. So I just pasted it into my own web editor and created that. And I will be giving you some examples of websites and how you can get those set up towards the end of this. Actually, next slide. We're skipping ahead. I forgot I rearranged the slides before this. So where do you host your web page? Because you do need to have a web page in order to do this. I mean, you can just send them to your YouTube, but for me, that's not as professional. I want them to go to a page that's branded with my logo, that that speaks to them as to who I am. I don't want it to just go to YouTube. So here's what I do. I actually use a service called 5minds.com, which is a company I own. Okay, so I don't want you guys to think I want to be very transparent here. I do make a commission if you choose to use 5minds.com. But for me, it's a super, super easy way to create a website. In fact, all of my websites are created using 5minds.com. Normally, my company, we charge people $17 a month to have a basic website and editor. But because you guys are listening to me today, I decided I was going to go ahead and give you a discount just for watching my show today. So we lowered it to $12 a month. So if you choose, and believe me, I'm not pushing you. I mean, use whatever you want to use. But if you want to use something and have unlimited customer support and things like that, then you're welcome to use 5minds.com. Just make sure you mention that you were on the Down and Dirty Hangout, and that way you'll get this $12 per month discount. All right, there's some other ones you can use too. WordPress, this is a free way to do it. A lot of you are familiar with WordPress.com. In fact, Many times they even have a plugin, from what I understand, through WordPress, where you can plug in your Google Hangout. I'm not as familiar with that, but I'm sure you can look that up and learn how you can embed it in WordPress. Lead pages, for those of you that use lead pages to create capture pages and funnels. If all this is Greek to you, then get with me and I'll be happy to share with you, what that is and how it works. But leadpages.com, if you have an account with them already, you can add your Google Hangout to one of their video templates, and there you have it. You can embed it right into lead pages. And then finally, just another system that you might be interested in is Wix.com. This is another website editor. It is a free system. I've actually used this one before. I will tell you, I've had some trouble with it though. It has some glitches, and that's why I made the switch over to fiveminds.com. All right, so that just gives you some ideas. So when you embed it, you want to make sure, and I'll go back to that code again, you want to make sure you include all of it from the iframe. I actually added a little code too. I added the center because I wanted my video to appear in the center of my screen. I didn't want it to be right or left. And to do that, you just put the little brackets center at the very top of the code, and then you close that in brackets with a hash, or what do you call it, a backslash, so that you can close it. And that'll help center your video. That was extra. That was not included in the embed code, but it really just helped my video to be more centered on the page. All right, we've probably talked about embedding enough. So we're going to go ahead and go to the next item, and that is chat. As you can see on my own Hangout today, there is a chat box below. Now, if you've got it full size right now in order to see the slides, you probably can't see the chat roll. But if you're still viewing this in the page that I sent you, then you'll see that I'm using chat roll. There are two services I recommend that you use if you want people to be able to chat live with you during your Hangout, and that is Chatroll or Livefire. Chatroll to me is so much easier to integrate. It's super, super easy, and I actually set that one up literally in a few minutes on this Down and Dirty. But I've recently made the switch, at least for my Marshall Way Network TV show, to Livefire. And the reason why is because Chatroll, from what I understand, only allows about 10 people to be actively on there, whereas Livefire allows unlimited, from what I can tell. And also Chatroll, after the Hangout is over, all the chats that were there disappear, which I didn't really like that. So I will be changing this one to Livefire very soon for the Down and Dirty. Whereas Livefire, it appears to keep a running thread of all of the chats and questions that are posted in there. But I will tell you, Livefire was really difficult, at least for me, to figure out how to embed it. It took me quite a lot of searching around to figure it out. I did figure it out. Obviously, it's on my Marshall Way Network, and it's working beautifully there. But if you are interested in using Livefire and you're having trouble with it, I'd be happy to kind of give you some tips on how I got it set up, because it's not as hard once you figure out the actual code. The hard part was figuring out the embed code. I could not find it anywhere on their site. I finally found it, and once I got the embed code in the right place, everything worked beautifully. All right, so those are just two, and I do not have any affiliation with Chatroll or Livefire. So if you have problems with it or whatnot, you're going to need to reach out to those companies and not me. All right, so just to review. So here are just the steps in order to set up your own Hangout. So number one, in YouTube, you want to make sure you click the upload button, and then it'll pull up the Google Hangout. And that's, for me, that was the easiest method in order to create the Google Hangout. Number two, you want to give it a name, and then click Start Hangout. Once you click Start, it doesn't mean it goes live yet, but it takes you to the administration page. All right, number three, you're going to copy the embed link in the bottom and then paste it on your web page. And you're going to want to do that before you go live. All right, the fourth thing is you're going to send panelists the link at the bottom of the page. So you'll click on that, copy that link at the bottom of the page, and send that to any panelists that you would like to be active on the live call. And then finally, step 5, you're going to click the green broadcast button on the Google Hangout itself, and that actually makes it go live. Now you're probably wondering, what happens after the Hangout ends? Well, you'll see in the upper right, let me see if I can back up to one of the Hangout screens here. Okay, there it is. So you'll see on the Hangout itself, once you click Start Broadcast, you'll see that there's a little red telephone at the top. So when you're all done, you can simply click on that. I believe there's also a button at the bottom. I'll probably check that here in a minute, but I believe there's also a button at the bottom where you can click End Broadcast. Now, here's the cool thing. Once you end live broadcast, if your panelists are still out there, you guys can still talk to each other, but the rest of the world won't see you. In fact, sometimes I've used Google Hangouts just to talk with team members or family, and I did not want to record it. So we all got onto the Google Hangout, but I never actually clicked Start Broadcast. And that way, we never got recorded, and we just had kind of a private conversation using the Google Hangout tool. So there's a lot of great ways you can use it. All right, so I'm going to go back here to the end of the presentation. Make sure I didn't miss anything for you. I hope you guys are finding some really good value in this, because I can tell you the Hangouts have really, really helped me. Okay, so that is the end of the slideshow. So let me flip it back over to me. All right, hello again. So basically, in summary, I want to just let you know that, how do you make a profit with it? Well, the number one way you can make a profit with Google Hangouts is by collecting their emails. So I never actually share my live web page. In fact, I keep it hidden. Like I said earlier, I use that 5minds.com for my web hosting system. And they have a method in there where you can actually click lock on the page so that no one, not even a search engine, can find your live Google Hangout page. The only people that can find it are the people that you send that link over to them. And the benefit of that is then I direct everybody to sign up for my Hangouts. In other words, I send them to a registration page where they have to enter their name and email address. So now I've started to collect their email addresses, which is the benefit of this. And I actually get a lot of leads because I give these Hangouts. I do trainings a lot. I show tips and things like that. And some of my Hangouts, I just have kind of delved into charging for some of my higher end Hangouts, in which I'm teaching some very high end technical stuff that's very valuable. So you could actually encourage people on the front end to go and not only enter their email address and their name, but also, have it hooked up to PayPal or any other, e-wallet system where you can go in there and you can, take a payment for your show and then send them a link after they've made payment. So it's a really great feature. The other way that you can use this is you can, if you don't have a good smartphone or video camera, you can use your Hangouts in order to start recording video. And you could actually create a large body of work in which you've recorded different trainings, different videos, different things like that that are related to your business that you can then either share with your list or you can charge for as a one big video package. So I hope this has given you some great ideas as to how you can utilize Google Hangouts. I encourage you to get out there and create your first Hangout. I know the first one that I did, I was a little nervous about it. I wasn't, it's hard when you're talking to people and you can't see them. But after you do it a few times, you just start thinking that you're talking to your best friend. And when you do that, it becomes so much easier for you to produce these Hangouts and good quality content. So with that said, I'm going to leave you for today. And if you have questions, I will be checking the chat below. I'll answer those as I can. And if you don't get them answered there, feel free to shoot me a message or reply to my emails, and I will be in touch with you. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next week for our Down and Dirty at 1:30. Take care.